night
Okay, guys,
3
you
of
can
marriage
switch
and
over.
parenting
You
chat.
can leave me. You can leave me and go to Paul's live.
Come on in, guys.
I won't
Welcome.
be offended.
Welcome
I
to the
won't
chat.
be offended. I love
Ashley's
you. Now I
jumping
need
in
to
here.
see you decrease. Good job. Keep decreasing. Keep decreasing.
You know what?
Decrease.
Hey, Ashley, jump on this because
Because-
I got to grab my laptop to tell.
What do you mean jump on this?
I can't text
I
Banning.
am on this.
No, like
Oh,
jump
yeah,
on.
I don't have Banning's number. I'm not that cool.
Oh.
Okay, so go ahead. Get the number.
Alicia
Oh,
C
wait,
is
what are you
on.
saying?
Let's go.
How are we going to get Banning's
Come
number
on,
then?
Alicia. I'm going to text him from my
Oh,
laptop.
good.
He's
Keep
going to jump on.
decreasing. All right, see you guys. Bye-bye. See you in a second. Right there. I see you. Okay. Let's see. Delete. Okay, Paul just leaves. Where'd he go? He didn't even get to 411. What's he going to do? Is he going to text Banning and tell him we're here?
He's got an app on the computer, so he can text him through that.
Oh, he's got an app on his computer. Oh, so high tech. Just kidding.
Hey,
I know
you got
that's
Banning's number?
common. I don't think so. Like I said, I'm not that tight with all the people like you are. Oh, I actually do on accident.
Text Banning for me and say this is.
Hey, Banning. Will
Paul's
he
wife,
answer me because I'm
Ashley.
not you?
We've got one of our friends jumping on here in just a minute. Banning Liebscher. He's a pastor in Sacramento, California, and he's going to talk a little bit about marriage because he's got some great stuff to say. We're going to chat with him. His wife might jump on too. And I'll just tell Banning he just needs to jump on here.
Thanks for me.
Oh, there we go. Mark just sent it to us. Thank you, Mark.
You saw your
Guys,
struggle, and the struggle was real.
so first off, let's talk about what you had for dinner. I
oh,
wanna hear
look,
from you
he
guys.
says we're on it.
Wait,
Oh,
is
oh.
Banning on?
Tune in or sign back off so you can pop back up.
Oh
My
yeah,
bad.
Banning, sign off, sign
I
back
was
on,
fixing
and send a
it.
request. Send a request.
He sent me a screenshot of me texting him. Already requested. Okay, request again.
All right, so let's talk about this. What do you guys have? Is Oklahoma open now? Storehouse, Dallas. Oklahoma opens May 1st. May 1st, Oklahoma reopens.
For some reason,
We
we're
had-
not seeing his requests.
There
Oh,
it
there it is. There it is.
People had
There it is.
burgers. People had
You had
pizza
Pizza Hut.
tonight.
I already told everybody.
Wait, you already told everyone I had Pizza Hut?
I did.
Come on, it's
Was it secret?
it's pretty good. Brahms.
Cigarette? No, there.
Banning! Yo, CJ, what's up?
That might have been the funniest thing I've ever sat here, and we just silently watched
I
you
want to yell.
guys.
I want to yell. We're right here. We're right here, guys. We're right here. We can see you, We can see you. We can
Come
see
on.
You.
Oh, I thought that was so funny too. CJ, I don't even think I've ever met you.
I don't leave my house. Hello, nice to meet you.
Good to
Hey,
meet you.
Ashley, good to meet you.
Come on, we are so pumped that you guys joined us. How's it going in your home? What'd you have for dinner?
I haven't got to eat yet.
I haven't eaten yet. Haven't eaten yet.
Me
It's,
neither. How selfish of Paul. He already ate before us all. Nobody's eating here.
Listen, it's Groundhog's Day. We literally about 5. We're like, what are we eating tonight? I don't know. It's just the craziest experience of being home for this long. I mean, some of it I love, and then some of it is just this. Like, are we having dinner again tonight? I think so.
I got excited over eating cereal. I'm like, I'm not making dinner. I'm gonna have some cereal. That's what I want.
Listen, you guys, and for everybody that's watching, and you've got younger kids, our kids are teenagers. So I'm watching all these people on Instagram. They're like, man, my kids are just driving me crazy, and they're so needy. And we're over here going, my kids like quarantine themselves anyways in life. Like my son would live in his room. If we just brought him a piece of pizza every once in a while, a cup of noodles, he would just live in his room playing Xbox.
You guys have it easy.
Oh,
I have
man.
noticed some of our family members or different ones that have teenagers. They're more on live. They got on these fresh sermons, fresh ideas.
know, dude. We're just
and
we're-
all of
we're
us, we're
getting
just
through it.
struggling. I have yesterday's
Yeah, I know.
makeup on. I need
I
to
haven't
wash my
showered
face.
in a while.
No, it's kind of fun. We're watching movies together. We're doing projects
I feel
together.
so bad. All the ones with little kids. And they're like, I'm trying to do this homeschool thing. And my kids are just homeschooling themselves, I think. This I think they are. My son, I'm like, are you doing your work? He's like, yeah. I'm like,
I make him tell me what he's working on, but I don't know if that's accurate
And then
or
my-
if he's doing it.
And then my 17-year-old, she's super, super responsible. So she's already ahead. And so we're like, all right, well, we'll be downstairs.
She's worried about when she doesn't have schoolwork, what she's going to do with herself.
What grade is
wow.
she in? She's senior year?
She's a junior.
Junior, okay.
Wow.
She wrote her PE teacher because he said she could have a pass or no pass instead of a grade. And she's like, can I have a grade though? Because what do I
Wow.
have to do to get a grade?
Come
A girl.
on.
A girl.
Those
That's my
parenting
girl.
skills. We gotta hear. Like, I mean, that's why you're here, because you guys are pros at parenting.
Oh,
Come on.
totally. Our kids are perfect. It's amazing. We've never made a mistake. I don't even know.
I know. We're like, who's the most perfect people that we could ever live with? And it's
Hey,
you.
listen.
First.
But for real, how is it going? You guys pastor Jesus Culture Sacramento. For everyone who's jumping on here that doesn't know them, they're pastoring Jesus Culture, Amazing Church Sacramento. What's it like in California in all this? What's it like in Sacramento?
Okay, well, let me just say right now, it's different than Oklahoma. Can we have this conversation real quick? Oklahoma's like, you all should be in church. Get back to church.
Come on, bro.
This is a God-given America. Get to church. And then out here, they're like, yeah, you're not going to be coming back for months. We literally, Governor Newsom today said that churches are in phase 3 of the plan. And then even fully lifting restrictions is phase 4. But phase 3 isn't for months.
Oh,
From right now.
man.
Phase 3 isn't for months. So, but you know what? In the midst of all of it, in all honesty, in the midst of all of it, God's doing really incredible stuff. And I think one of the joys that we've had planning this, because we planted the church, so planning the church together, and CJ is, leading the whole staff and all this stuff, that we have seen our team step up to another level in this time. It's been really amazing just seeing, and even the community that comes together and people reaching out, and you even talked about it, people that are wanting to serve and jump in and
Wow.
give. So in the midst of the crisis, in the midst of the inconvenience, in the midst of I just miss being with people, the people of God together. There's been some really beautiful, seeing the hearts of people and the maturity in people just manifest in this time has been pretty amazing.
Wow.
Man.
I'm actually way more productive because I don't do Zoom calls well. I get bored. So we actually get our stuff done, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, we actually are working. No, but in reality, we're actually finding a whole bunch of new ways to connect, and because our church is pretty
Spread out.
It's pretty spread out. So people drive hours to come to church. And so this has created a way for connection that we never would have had before. So we actually think we'll take a few of the tools we've learned once the doors open and keep doing them.
Having said that, today was a little bit of I kind of knew it was coming, that they weren't going to, it was a little bit like, oh, this is months more. All right, well, here we go. Let's figure it out, so.
What are they
Wow.
saying? Like July, August?
He didn't say that in particular. They just said it's months away. And then we don't know, honestly, if it's going to be like, are they going to gradually ramp it up where they're like, okay, you can meet in groups of 50, you can meet in groups of 250. And then, quite frankly, I think there's going to be a lot of pastors that are actually not going to be okay with this. I mean, that are going to start stepping out. And we already in Sacramento had a handful that were defying the orders before. So we'll see. It's a unique time we live in right now.
Bro, it is. Well,
It's
talk a
great.
little bit about how long y'all been married?
22 years.
22 years.
Wow.
And you got how many? 3 kids or 4?
Three kids.
Three
We have a 21-year-old. We got pregnant 5 months in. We look back now, we were 21. And CJ about 3 months in, which I don't know if I'd get. 3 months in at 21 years old, she goes, I want to have a kid. And I said, all right, sounds good. Like,
We had no idea.
this
no
was,
idea.
this was before we'd really solidified the core value of submitting our lives to elders who give us input. So we would never make this decision now without actually getting input. But at the time, she's literally in the living room going, I want to have a kid. I'm like, sounds good, let's do it.
Let's do
and
it.
So, and then it felt like 2 weeks later we were pregnant. Like, it felt like, hey, we're pregnant.
Wow.
But yeah, so we have a 21-year-old daughter, and then we have a 17-year-old daughter, and then we have a
14-year-old son.
14-year-old son, and he was going to be 15 soon.
Come on. And you've been teaching him basketball. He's out there hooping.
I think I hit a wall this weekend because I've been a sports mom since my kids were born. And this was like a big season for him, and it's all on hold. And I went, okay, I think that's the hardest part is I can't watch him play basketball.
Yeah, our lives.
Wow.
You guys would. our lives are just every weekend is sports, and
Tournaments.
all of our kids were playing. And we kind of one time when all three of our kids had tournaments on the same weekend, I think in one weekend we went to 12 games.
At least.
Yeah,
Wow.
That was a.
Yeah,
So you're telling us
crazy.
that's our future with our kids then? Just nonstop
Yes.
games, practices.
I'm gonna have to hire like drivers. Like, can
You
I
do.
hire an
You
Uber to
do
pick up my
that.
kids, take them
Yeah.
to school, to take them to sports?
You definitely split who's got this and who's got this.
You got to be friends with parents on the team too. You always
Yeah.
find you're like, okay, you're my pal. We're gonna share this. I'll take yours. You take mine.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
I'm gonna start. That is a really good strategy, CJ. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna pass out a questionnaire, and I'm gonna get their favorite snack and their favorite place to spend.
You gotta find
few
ones
bucks.
that like they get you. Like we were going to a tournament that got canceled, and I found one that I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the beach for part of this trip. Okay, can I leave him with you, and we'll split up? And she's like, absolutely, I got you. I
That
was
is
like,
so good. I need those. Oh, that is good.
moms get each other.
What kind
They
of
do.
parenting advice is that?
It's
What
awesome.
parenting advice is that? Here's how to pawn your kids off
She
on
actually.
other parents.
I'm not even there, and I feel like I'm not even there in that season yet. I already feel like I'm winning just listening to that advice.
You know, the other mom goes, even if you miss a game, I'll take notes. I'm like, I'm never going to miss a game. I just, in between the games,
Yeah,
I
in
want you
between.
to watch my kid, okay? I need a break.
Yeah, because
I'm
then
excited.
it has to be in between because they got to be there. Like, I played sports, they got to be there an hour before, and that's a whole
Yes.
other hour you could be soaking up the rays. I get it.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
we're there. We're still,
There's
fighting.
our best parenting advice. How to get rid of your kids. How to have the least amount of sacrifice on
It's all
sport
about
weekends.
alliances, okay?
Hey, I'm starving. I'm sacrificing during this time. My kids are fed.
Oh.
I'm starving. Now this guy, he's just smacking his gum right in my ear this whole time, rubbing it in. That he actually had bad breath from eating, and now he has good breath. He's just rubbing it in.
Are you fasting?
Who,
Me?
her?
Why are you starving?
I don't know
Because
why
I've
she
been
waited so
feeding
late
our
to
kids.
eat. I had all
Are
three
you
boys
serious?
the whole night.
Why?
I took
because
all
we
three
have
boys
to be out of our
to
rental
go
house
play.
on Thursday. That's why.
I took the three sons out of the house
I've
this
been
afternoon
taping
to go play.
boxes, and if I
Are you
really
guys in your
showed
new
you my
house yet?
fingers, you would see the blood.
That's awful.
Are you
That's
guys,
awful.
are you guys in your new house yet?
No.
No.
Oh.
No, but we're packing. We're packing. But for
Yeah.
real, you're smacking in my ear. It's
Okay,
just like
we got a question for you. Tell us your thoughts just about marriage, not just in quarantine, but just ways to help marriages stay strong. You know, we've been talking for the last few nights about how it seems like in this crisis, it's kind of gone one way or the other for couples. It's either caused them to get more strifeful or get more bond more together. And so we want to use this time just to encourage couples out there, maybe even singles that are looking for tools to have a strong marriage someday. So you guys share a little bit of your thoughts on that with us tonight.
Well, I would say this, and I want to say this in an encouraging way, but crisis and pressure, which is what we're in right now. So there's a pressure that's happening, and it's kind of touching all areas. It's like we can't get a break from each other, especially like you can't get away from each other. You can't go like, I'm going to go to the gym and sweat this out for a little bit, and we're just kind of like, I'm going to go in the living room. And so there's a proximity, there's a rhythm that you've lost in life, as well as just the things like finances. Like, what's going to happen with our finances? What are we going to do? Is it going to be okay? These are all things that are just causing pressure. And what I would say is this, is that pressure doesn't cause problems. It reveals them. And it doesn't cause cracks. It just reveals cracks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have one of two options then. When you begin to see a crack, that thing either just increases and gets worse and the dam breaks, or you just go, wow, there's a crack. We're going to take this time to make sure that thing that just got revealed gets healed up and healthy. And so I do think that when you say there's two options, I do think that this time, it's been hard. We've been in our midst of fights, and and over stuff and like short. Your patience level is
Well,
short.
like you said, pressure builds and all the wrong stuff comes up. So all of his bad stuff has come up, not mine, and I have to deal with him.
Yes,
I know.
that's a great
I feel sorry for you
illustration.
just talking about him.
It's a great illustration and
I've had to
example.
teach him during this time how to be a good man.
You bring up some stuff right now. So but this is what I think we've learned in the 22 years. It even shows up now. And I think I remember somebody telling us early on, they're like, it's not that you'll stop fighting. It's that your fights last a lot, that they go a lot shorter.
Yeah.
And I think they go a lot shorter because we are pretty committed that we have the same goal. It's to be connected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what happens is sometimes in these moments your patience level is low and you're feeling pressure. You're just so done with the kids and you don't have a moment to yourself and you're trying to figure out how to lead a church in the midst of literally something that's never happened in the earth, And then there's conflict that will happen. We get out of it a lot sooner because we both have the same value, the same goal, which is we want to be connected. We don't want to be right. We don't want, like I want connection more than I want to be right. I want connection more than I want her to be wrong. I want connection more than
So good.
whatever else it is. Would you agree with that? That's kind of like, so we'll get there quicker. We may take a moment, we're disconnected, but we very quickly stop and just go, both of us stop and go, no, I don't want to be disconnected from you right now, and move back towards that.
That's
Yeah,
really good.
we meet with a lot of we talk to a lot of younger couples, and it amazes me how, like, one thing that I think has always been with us is I have always watched him actually be willing to take a step back and not have to be right. Like, to actually take a step back because it was more important to him that I felt heard than be right. I feel like now you want to be right more. But when we were younger, no. But
Just in quarantine.
just in quarantine. No, but so that does make it easier for me, though, when you feel his ability to step back and go, hey, what do you need right now? You obviously are not feeling heard, seen, valued, even if he feels like he was right with whatever it is we're talking about. And it immediately puts my defenses down, and then we're able to connect about whatever it is, and you kind of look. I also think most of the things we fight about, I actually just asked a couple that was having a hard time this week, and I said, well, what are you guys actually fighting about? And they couldn't actually tell me what it is they're fighting about, but they're like screaming mad at each other. And I'm like, well, you probably just need to. And then I don't apologize or bring my heart to reconnect with a expectation on him. Like if you come in and expect, like, well, I apologize, why aren't you sorry? Then you aren't really sorry. You're just manipulating him for an answer.
Yeah,
There's our
that's
long answer.
good.
There's our long answer.
That's good.
No, I love it. I think it's really helpful for people out here. And, we were talking last night with a lady who's helped counsel us, and we were doing this live counseling session. It was super uncomfortable, but it was.
I watched some of it.
Yeah,
I
it was.
did yesterday.
It got a little awkward, but it was good. And I think the whole thing that she was saying, that the lady was saying, Denise, was just that whole thing of really stepping back and asking, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? And then recognizing that it's more important to stay in connection than it is to stay angry over something so small, So what do you think?
Katie, by the way, Katie Torwalt, who we all love, Katie. Katie said, I've never been more aware of sounds Brian makes when he eats food. I love him, though. I mean, that's the truth. It's just like this heightened sensitivity in this time of, normally that wouldn't bother me, but that is so bothering me right now. Like, why is that bothering me?
She gets ticked off by my smacking all the time.
I haven't even said it, you guys. It's been 7 weeks in quarantine, but the way Banning drinks his favorite cup, I literally could take the cup and just shove it in his face.
And here's the crazy thing. I do have a favorite cup.
He does. And it's like a...
Why is it your favorite
slurping
cup?
and shaking the ice and...
Oh, it's like one of those... it's like It's probably like a wine cup. But
It's a wine. It's actually for wine.
But it's one of these that's
that's my
insulated,
favorite.
And then it just
But he drinks healthy Coke in it. It's like clear Coke.
healthy Coke.
It's healthy Coke. It's Zevia.
Is it Coke
Zevia.
Zero?
Oh, right.
No, it's Zevia.
Oh, Zevia. I can't stand that stuff.
Yeah, no, he drinks it a lot.
Oh,
When you hear them
nasty.
swallow, listen.
Yes, Katie. Yes.
Listen, Katie.
Dad.
What'd she
Dad
say?
over here.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
What did Katie say?
She's just now teaming up with women in general. When you hear them swallow water or eat chips. Katie, you know what you need, Katie? You need the fruit of the Spirit called patience, Katie. Father, we just pray for Katie right now, God, that the Spirit of God would come and touch her life.
Okay, who's more spiritual, Banning or CJ?
Wait, for what?
Who's more spiritual, you or CJ? He is? Okay.
I call it when he's reached the limit that I feel like it's just ridiculous. I call it Lord talk, and I tell him he to calm the Lord talk down because I'm like, dude, like we're just talking about real life right now. Don't go being over spiritual on me.
Oh, I love that. I don't know. I need to use that. I don't know, Paul. What Banning? What do you do when she does that? I need to do that. I mean, it works. You guys have been married for 22 years. I mean, that's
Come
good
on.
tactics.
I told her one time. Thank you, Brian. Brian said he agrees with that prayer. I told her this is actually still a point of contention in our
Yeah,
marriage.
like this actually, I feel angry. Anita.
Were we dating or married?
We were dating.
We were dating, and I had both of us had kind of encountered the Lord and really given ourselves fully to Him. But I had encountered the Lord about a year earlier than she did. She was still that is true. Get out of here. And so she was still kind of living the rebellious life, and then she full on went for God. But so I told her one time we were dating. I said, "Well, CJ, I am more mature than you spiritually. I mean, I've been going after God longer than you have, a year longer." I was thinking, I'm 20 years old.
It went over super well with me.
I can see it.
I told her the other day, I said, CJ, I mean, I've been going after God a year longer than you. I'm just more mature at the end of the day. I'm a more mature believer than you are.
Yeah,
So
I
when
can
you
still
ask
see
who's
it.
more
I can still
spiritual-
see the heat right now.
Yeah.
That would really get me too.
Yeah, it worked really well. I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Whatever you say, I will do. I listen to my spiritual leaders.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so funny. Okay, so you guys have been married for 22 years. What do you think, like, with the, what's the harder years? Are there harder years more than other years? Like, what are things that people, like, should not be surprised about? Like, as you're continuing on your marriage, like you guys said, during quarantine, hey, you're going to get a little bit more annoyed because you're going to notice more what your other spouse is doing. What are the things that just come with the territory with marriage?
You want me to answer this?
That long.
Or you-
I'm afraid if you're acting
there's
so
no
good,
judge.
Jay.
Do anything.
Well, I would say, I mean, when I talk to younger couples that have little kids and they're like, talk about how hard it is with their spouse and they're irritated and frustrated because I just look at them like, yes, that it is hard right now. I don't have any other words for you other than it is hard. You're tired. You're not sleeping. You have somebody pulling on you at all times of the day. And so, I mean, I think that season is hard. It's great. It has so many wonderful times of, you know, I look back and miss it. But then when somebody starts reminding me of the fights and how much you're just like, take the kid, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a hard season. And then there's a happy zone in the middle before they get to be teenagers.
It's really weird because you have what I would say is the younger years are like busy, hard, as far as just because your kids, they're just so needy all the time. And this is not a negative. I'm just saying they're needy. They need to be fed, and they just need. They never stop needing. And then there is a time, and when I talk about this, there is a time when you can tell your kids, "Go away, leave me alone, go in the other room. We're going to be in here watching TV. What are we getting for dinner? I don't know. You'll figure it out on your own." But I'm just saying, you have the ability to separate, or you have the ability to go to the store. I remember the first time we were able to go, like, "Hey, you want to go to the store? Can we leave the kids?" Yeah, they're old enough now. And we just went to the store for like 40 minutes. It felt like, this is incredible. So those early years are busy years, but I will say this, and this is not everybody's story, but teenage years are no joke. And what I mean by that is this: we're having some of the best years of our life with our kids as teenagers, so it's incredible. We're in the hot tub every night with them, having incredible conversations, watching movies together, loving seeing them interact with people as teenagers. You definitely become like teenage years are amazing. But teenage years are definitely more raw, and they hit me by surprise. I was a youth pastor for so many years, so I thought...
I totally thought we had the teenagers.
I thought I'd been around teenagers for decades. Like, I got this, but it's not even close to the same thing. And what I would describe it as is when my daughter, my oldest, turned 13, it's this really weird experience where we were sitting across the table with her for her 13th birthday, and we just had a talk about... It's not even a purity talk. It was like a talk around like, hey... I want you to commit that you're going to protect our relationship, and we're going to commit to you that we're going to make your teenage years the best years of your life. And I want you to commit to us that you're going to protect our relationship with the decisions you make and the friends, things like that. Then I was sitting across the table from her, and she's 13, and I had this really crazy thought of, well, you could hurt me really bad. Like your decisions could hurt me pretty bad. Because with your kids... And when they're little, they're not hurting you emotionally.
Yeah.
But when they become teenagers, there's this like, I'm setting this up to say we're really, really enjoying our teenage kids. Yeah. Like we're gonna get off this and go in and have dinner with them and watch a movie together. Like we really are enjoying our teenage kids. But you are with your kids, you're so vulnerable to them. As far as like, I have no defenses. I have no defense up with you. So the decisions you make bring me great joy, and the decisions you make cause deep pain. And it was a weird spot to be in. And so you're like, please don't hurt me. Like, please don't hurt me, because you could really hurt me. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, we also, we pastored high schoolers forever. And when a high schooler would lie to you, and you would deal with like, hey, that hurt me, here's the consequences, and you think, I got this. But when your own kid lies to you, it's completely different. But I will say this, we had a moment when it was a real tough season where, because I think teenagers are emotionally exhausting, where little kids are physically exhausting. But I remember feeling like, hey, we're in this together. Like, I'm so thankful. I don't know how people do it when they're at odds. And they're also having to deal with that emotional rawness. So I was very thankful we'd worked through a lot of the stuff to feel like, hey, we're facing this together. It's not me facing this teenager doing this and you have a different opinion. Like, we fought to do it together.
But I would say to answer your question, I think the little kid ages are the hardest. And I think it's for a lot of reasons. I think you're just... You're usually when they're little, you're still trying to figure out your career. You're trying to like not mess up jobs. You're feeling pressure at jobs in a way. As your kids get older, you're a little more established in your job. You're maybe whatever it is. But when you're in your 20s and early 30s, and you're trying to figure things out, and then you're just exhausted. This is why I think a lot of people get divorced around the 10-year mark. In all honesty, because you're just so tired. And then what happens is I'm a touch love language guy. I'm touch. So I'm words of affirmation and touch. She is the opposite of that. Like,
his love languages are dumb.
Yeah. Those get so low, and so kids are on her all day long, needing her, hugging her, touching her. So then I would get home, and she's like, and this isn't always words, but like, I'm touched out. Like, I'm going to be sitting on the couch over there by myself. Don't get near me. And I don't really want to talk, like that type of thing. And so you've got all of these needs coming at you, and then you're trying to be a married couple, but you're not really meeting each other's needs because you're just exhausted, and I'm trying to make work happen, and I feel like my boss is upset with me, and she's at home and just drained, and so that age, you have to be pretty deliberate. Where now we can just go, kids, you're staying at home, let's go connect.
Yeah.
To really make sure that we're connected and our needs are being met in the midst of kids who are constantly, I would you agree? I would say that the younger years, and even more for I would say the wife, probably the mom, but would you say the younger years probably even more?
If he walked in the door and didn't say anything to me and grabbed me in a hug, it made me literally want to punch his face in. Like, I sound dramatic, but I was so done in, and I was like, just talk to me or treat me like an adult for a minute.
Right.
Don't, like, grab me and manhandle me. Like, can you not? And then we would, do you remember, we fought all the time because I would want him, please do the dishes before we can sit down. I can't relax.
Yeah.
And if the man would do the dishes, I would automatically feel like, I love you. Now I want to sit close to you. But it took like 5 freaking years for him to figure out, just do the dishes if you want me to cuddle with you.
Like, we really mean it. Like, read the book. We are so, it says it in the books, all the books. Do the dishes. Always
The
example.
problem is I don't want to just cuddle.
That's right.
Right.
That's it.
I don't know what he means by that. What do you guys think he means
Cuddle.
by that?
Cuddle's the first step. Cuddle's only the first step. No,
Exactly.
but you have to be pretty intentional when the kids are little.
What does
You
that
have to
look
be-
like? Like, what would you say that you guys did to say deliberate? Because honestly, you're right. There's a lot of people at the 10-year mark. Yeah, you're just like, you wake up from whatever world you're in, you're like, whoa, who are you? This connection was so long ago. How would you guys say that to be deliberate with that?
Well, everybody may be a little bit different, but for us, our love languages are so opposite, and the Lord's really used that in our own life. Like, we make a really great team because of that. Like, our strengths are different, our love languages are different. So I feel like we have a great rhythm with our kids because we're so different. But I think I think my dog's in here. I just really think recognizing that. So I have to. So she's like, I would just tell you this. I know this has been around a long time, but love languages. In this time, we sat and read the love languages together in bed for a while, and just said, okay, you're that, I'm this. So I don't speak Russian, but I better learn it. Because if you're going to feel loved, seen, connected in this season, I'm going to have to deliberately move. Like, it's not just dishes, it's acts of service that she's looking for. And so I think really understanding each other's love languages goes a really long way, because then you can even with your kids, we feel a little bit of a, there might be a disconnect between a kid. We're automatically going, okay, we gotta move towards their love language. So when your kids are little, so CJ is acts of service. She's quality time and acts of service. So the quarantine's been amazing because
I'm so happy.
Because her perfect day,
So happy.
her perfect day is me going to the gardening, to the nursery, the garden nursery, walking around, looking at plants, getting plants, going home, digging holes, planting, all while she's talking about every mindless detail that you could talk about. Like, yes, like that's my point is this: if you can really understand your spouse's love language and your kids' love language, then when needs are not being met or disconnect is there, I can do something about that.
So
You
good.
feel loved and connected when we will just sit outside on the porch and just talk, or when I'm gonna hang up some sheep. I hung up this, like, it was this chicken kind of thing. It was like a chicken painting. I hung it up once, and she literally is like, "You feel so loved."
But the other side of it, like, because I was acts of service, when the kids were little, I would clean the house so that every day when he came home to a clean house, and dinner was on the table at 5. And he was so unappreciative and, like, didn't care at all, and then would just try to, like, physically grab me. And finally, when we actually had this conversation, I was like, I'm working my butt off and then getting my
To say
feelings
I love you.
hurt.
To say I love
To
you.
try to say I love you to him, and then getting my feelings hurt because you don't care, and you actually don't care. So then, when I finally realized that, I left like a pile of poopy diapers by the front door, left those for him, and it was actually great. He would come home, take care of those, and it was like, oh my gosh, like, we had so much more peace because I wasn't
Yeah, so it's
working hard to not actually hit what was needing to be hit.
It's understanding what her love language is, moving towards that, but it's also like just understanding what their love language isn't.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
if she's going to get filled up, it's not a lot of words, and it's not hugging or whatever. Like, that's not filling up her tank. And so it's just when you can really get way more in tune and more of an expert with that, it's just and the love language has been around forever, but it's just that understanding of I know how to go connect with you.
It's so good.
And I know what I need for connection, because that's the other thing. I know what I need. So I would go and just be like, whatever, like I need you to sit on the couch next to me. We have a big couch. It's like a big, huge sectional. There'll be just us. We're like, let's watch a movie together. And I'll sit on the couch, and I've got like feet, I think yards of couch next to me. And she'll walk by me and go sit as far away as possible.
Why do girls do that?
On the couch. If he wants to sit next to me, sit next to my seat. I don't sit other places. I sit in my seat.
But this was
Not difficult.
This was the thing where
I get you.
we're being able to understand, like, hey, this is what I need. Because so many times when you don't know your love languages, you don't know what you need. So CJ might just say, here's what I need from you. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what I need. And it's not just that I'm expecting you to automatically know what I need. I know what I need. I'm not confused about what I need. And a lot of people have no idea what they need. So I know what I need. So I'm presenting to you, this is what I need. And then allowing you to move towards that.
I think just talking about it, one of the things I remember when I learned about touch, I'm awkward. I'm not a toucher. Like, my family, my dad, who I adore,
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul.
He would greet me, and the way I knew he loved me was a punch in the arm. And, like, for me, that was truly like my dad loves me. Like, I don't know. I just, like, that was true, right? So I remember trying to figure out this physical touch stuff, and we were, like, standing somewhere, and I'd be, like, rubbing his back, whatever, and he would act totally indifferent, like, kind of looking off, and, like he didn't care. Like, we're, like, at the mall, and I'm trying to hold his hand, and he, acts like, and finally I'm like, am I not doing this right?
I told her. I said, CJ, listen, you gotta understand. I want the touch, but I gotta act like I don't care. Like, it's my woman. She just wants, she wants to be close. Like, it's my woman. I don't know. She's, she wanted to hang on me, guys. I don't know. It's just, she wants me. And so, I'm like, I don't want to, like, when you're touching me, I don't be like, oh, thank you so much for touching me. I just so really, so we've had those conversations.
That is
that's the type of stuff that you gotta be able to talk about and know each other and, like, get what's going on.
Yeah.
I love that.
Great.
I love that. CJ, as a mom, did you ever feel like in certain seasons your love language changed at different times, or was it always acts of service?
Banning says mine changed by the minute. It's whatever I feel like I need, and I also don't feel bad about that.
Her base ones, I would say this, her two have never really changed. They've always been there. But there are definitely seasons where she'll be like, I don't feel like a good mom, and I don't feel like you're encouraging me with that. I'm like, you've never wanted words before. You've never cared if I encouraged you verbally.
I'm going to cut this hand off.
And verbally, please don't cut my hand off. And she said, this is what I need right now. I just need some encouragement. So it's just that. I do think that women,
yours never change,
are able to jump in and jump out of love languages.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Is that a nicer way to say it? Jump in, jump out. We can be in more
They
than one
kind of
place
need
at
all
one
of
time.
them at some different moment.
Yeah, and then we're supposed to somehow know that.
We got to have it
I
memorized.
brought off to clean the entire house when she gets home, and she gets home and doesn't even care because she just wants
I will say this. I think it completely discounts it when he says, I better be getting some acts of service points for this. I'm like,
Right?
no,
Strings
no,
attached,
sorry,
yeah.
Wiped off the board for that one. Done.
I'm only trying to help the situation.
Yeah, it does not count.
Yes.
Punch in the
yeah.
arm.
Hey, who's that counselor lady you were talking about? I need her number.
Right? Don't we all?
Oh, man.
We're going to do an Instagram live with her. Just have her help us.
Come on.
Fine. The pressure has not brought anything bad out of me.
It's just me.
Hey, let me ask you a different question, and we'll let
love
y'all
it.
off after this. But
Thanks for keeping it real.
yeah, with parenting, who has been, like, has it always been one child that was the hardest, or was it different children in different season?
boy has been pretty easy all the way through.
But he's not just our boy; he's our youngest.
I feel like he was born like, what do you need, Mom? I will say for their younger years, there was a lot of times I felt I did a lot because he was traveling a lot. And when he's home, he was great, but there was a lot of my own. But no, it was never just one kid. They went through seasons.
Listen, we just would have to talk about women right now because girls are like, again,
We have firecracker children. They are not easy.
I hate making just generality, big general sweeping statements, but girls are like one huge pretzel ball of emotions, and they don't even know what's going on. And so they were like that, 13, 14 or whatever, and I'm just sitting there going, what is going on? My son, so Raya would have been 13, I bet, and my son then would have been 10. And my daughter, she's amazing. It's not like this anymore, but she would just it was out of control. Her emotions were so driving her life. It didn't even, and then she just take it out on everybody. She felt some way. It was like a bomb. So we were locked up one time, and she was just, it was bad for about an hour in the house where she was just, I don't know what was going on. And so I go back to my son. He's in the back room. He's playing video games. He's 10. He's back to playing video games. I just go sit down after about an hour of this. I just sit down. And I look at him and I said, you're not going to do this to us, are you? And he looks at me and goes, no, that's crazy.
She has been,
it's been that.
when she was little, she was
Love that.
like fearless. That girl, we called poison control more times than I can count. She rode her bike into the pool before she could walk.
Wow.
She was crazy. So
Yeah, they're saying boys can be emotional too, and he's emotional. We're not saying he's not emotional.
No.
I actually don't think he's the easiest just because he's a boy. I think he's the easiest because he's our third. And
I think it's just his temperament.
But we were 30 when we had him, not 21. We were 31 when we had him, not 21. There's just a bunch of stuff involved.
Oh, yeah.
You're a lot more relaxed. You know this when you have little kids. That I think your first baby is a lot more high strung because you're high strung. The minute their binky drops, the minute you're like, what's going on? Everything all right?
That's
and then
true.
by the third one, you're like, they'll be fine. So there's just a natural, I think the deeper you get into kids, the more they kind of have to take care of themselves. They have to be all right because we don't have all the attention we can give them. So I do think that some of it is simply he's a third child.
Sure.
I just think every kid's different. I don't think there's a system that's right or wrong. My sister had 3 kids. My brother had 3 kids. We all have had 3 kids, and it's different for all of us. And
yeah, well, somebody's saying here it's the opposite for them. Their oldest is crazy.
yeah. I'm just
their
thankful.
oldest is calm and responsible, and their 2 little ones are crazy. It is all different.
I will say we had our first kid at 22, and I apologized to her more times than I can count because I just had this conversation with her last week. I said, hey, we don't know what we're doing. I've never raised a 21-year-old before. I don't know where this is. You're the adult, and we don't step in, or we step in and go, hey, I don't think that's a good choice. I'm figuring it out, and I'm just.
And I don't know why God chose you for you to be our guinea pig, but you're a guinea pig. So let's buckle up.
Yeah. Keep
You
it
guys
real
are
with them.
amazing.
That's so good.
And I love that
that.
you carry that humility with your kids and that you let them know that you don't know what you're doing. Because I think, I was the youngest in the family. Banning, were you the youngest or oldest?
I was youngest with 2.
CJ, how about you?
I'm one of 9, but my parents were all married so many times. I'm the only child between them 2, so
they're all half or step. So
I'm the youngest in one family, the oldest in another.
Oh, wow.
She has a bunch of siblings, but acts like an only child.
Well, I think
Interesting.
I never heard what you just said to your daughter. I didn't hear that. Maybe because I was the youngest and my parents had kind of figured it out by then. But I like that you said that because there were moments where when I became an adult, I was 20, 21, and I was having some head-butting moments with my mom or my dad. If they would have said something like that, it maybe would have made me a little more warmer in those seasons instead of so cold. And I think whether it's right or wrong, it probably endears her heart. And I would guess any parent who's watching out there, it would endear your young adult child's heart to go, man, I have compassion because my parents, you're right. Like we're all on this journey together. So I think that's great advice.
I think for me, one of the reasons why I try to do that with her is because I had so many opinions in my 20s of what I would have done better than what my parents did. Like, I was sure I knew everything in my 20s. I don't know if you guys were like that, but I knew everything.
Yeah.
And then when I became a parent and, like, hit my 30s when, like, a lot of hard stuff happened in my life with choices my parents made, as I hit my 30s and realized this is hard.
Yeah.
And I think they thought they were doing their best.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think they were doing their best. So
Yeah.
I just have tried to step back like, man,
Yeah.
I know I'm doing my best. I know I don't want to hurt you, but I think I am hurting you. And I'm sorry. Here I am. I want to do this well, so let's try. Raising a young adult might be the hardest thing I've done so far. And I adore her.
But we would have said the same thing about a 17-year-old. She's just our first. We just never done it. So it's just that. And we listen, we get a lot of advice. We're on the phone a lot. Literally, our dog right now is coming
Hey,
to put
dog.
is shoving a ball.
Oh, how sweet. What kind of dog is it? Oh, hey.
Hey, little puppy.
This is our 21-year-old's dog.
Who they found on the freeway. Let's not tell you.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
I just think it's your first. All of them. It's just your first is your first, and so you're like, hey, we're doing the best we can, but we're trying to figure it out. And,
Yeah. Well, guys, we love you so much. Thank you for joining us tonight.
That was so good.
Have a
so
good family night.
to meet you, CJ. Can't wait to
Yes,
hang.
you too.
So good to see you guys. Love what you're doing, and I really mean this, not just saying this, but so cheering you guys on. Love what you're both doing. Love the church you're leading. I love the impact that's happening, and we're in California, in your corner. We're in your corner because it's amazing what's going on out there.
Maybe we'll come to your church
And
since we can't have
We're
church.
so happy that Oklahoma's opening up and just
we
let
know.
go
Yay for
come.
you.
And that's awesome. Really great. Good for you, Tulsa.
That's stuff over
Good
Hey.
for you.
We're
Enjoy
in
that
your
hot
corner.
tub.
We're in your corner, too. We love you
We have all
guys.
the crazy people in gloves and masks everywhere. I'm like, what are you doing? Why?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
In their cars.
I
Driving
hear
in
you.
their cars. All right, that's another issue. We'll let you go. All right, guys.
Later, y'all. Much love.
Bye. So good to see y'all.
Bye. Okay. So, we're going to, Ashley and I are just going to chat, process a little bit. We got one last person we're going to talk to tonight. Someone said they have to get off because I'm smacking my gum too much.
I'm telling you, I told him the other day. I was like, Paul,
I will take it out for you.
You smack so much. He goes, I think you're just making that up just because you've been with me like the whole quarantine
I took
thing.
it out.
You just noticed that about me and you just think.
That is
Hold
one
on.
of Ashley's pet
You literally
peeves.
just said, you told me just the other day, you said, I think you're just making that up.
Well-
that I smack, but I don't. And I was like, but your mouth is going,
I'm sorry. I am a smacker. I'm sorry about that.
wow, okay, guys, remember this. All of you.
Okay.
He admitted this. He admitted that.
But it's because I am passionate about whatever is going on in my life. So I'm passionate about the gum. I'm passionate when we eat a meal. She's like, you need to calm down. You are eating that
But
meal.
with passion, like you
too
tell me, you need
passionately.
self-control with that passion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Henshaw,
Okay.
Daniel Henshaw. Is there any singles out there?
Wait, what are we doing?
Well, the other night when we first started this, Daniel was like, bro, you're eating that hamburger with a lot of passion. And I was laughing because it's normal for me, but I was
y'all
eating it
are
in front of y'all.
saving our marriage, though, pointing out when
I will
I've
say-
been pointing out.
If you are single, we want to set you up right now. If you want us to set you up with somebody and you're single out there, and
I don't know if we have time for that.
We will
'cause
try it in the next few minutes.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other? Have you guys liked this? We're waiting for Greg and Kim. It's going to be so good. We love them so much. Did you guys enjoy CJ and Banning? I just love CJ's personality. That was my
yeah.
first time to meet her. I
That
was
was
like, yeah,
great.
I totally get that. Oh,
Loved it.
everything that you said.
And
Calm down
we
the
want-
Lord talk. Can I say that to you? What
yes.
would you do?
Abby Hull is on there. She
Heads
watched our
up.
kids
I'm single,
last
help me
night.
out. Thank you,
Come
Abby.
on. We're going to get some singles connected in his house tonight. Okay,
Yeah.
here's another. We're gonna take probably what 10, 15 minutes with Greg and Kim. What's the
Yeah,
plan?
they're actually. Oh no, that's not them.
yeah, Global Q.
Are you sure that's them? Are
I
we
think
just,
so.
Are we
Hold
inviting
on.
random people into our live?
Let's find out.
Are
Global Q. That's him.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We're gonna find out if
We're
this
gonna
is him.
find out.
If it's not, then we'll X. So yeah, we're talking about what are we talking about? Yo,
It is you.
Hey,
Come on.
We really didn't know who we were allowing into this video, but we were like, okay, good.
I know we got the ring behind the halo on Greg's head, so
Oh, it's gonna be good then.
yeah.
It's
So
gonna
if
be
you
good.
need a saint, you know where to go tonight.
That's-
How are you guys doing? This has been fantastic.
Hey, thank you. It's been good. It's been really good. It's been a lot back to back, but honestly, I love the idea. Like, we literally roll in here. It starts at 8:45. We can roll in at 8:40. You know, it's awesome.
Zach Bernatsky back here making it
Yes.
happen behind the camera.
Awesome.
And it's been good. Have you guys gotten to watch some of it?
Yeah, we did. Loved last night.
Last night was
that
good.
was amazing. I'm going to go back and listen. That was fantastic.
That Denise and her husband, I guess you heard kind of the story, but they help mentor a lot of pastors out there, and they counsel they counsel anyone. They do the retreats for any couple out there that wants to go. So like Ashley was saying, her sister went, her brother went. We've sent several couples to the retreats. And for anyone who's jumping on tonight that missed the information, Living Waters, right?
LivingWatersMinistry.com.
Yeah, Living Waters Ministry. But for those of you that are joining in now, Greg and Kim Ford.
Wait, I gotta say something about last night. I rewatched it too, and I lost it watching Paul's face during that moment. I mean, I was in the kitchen last night, like snorting because I was laughing so hard watching Paul's face during the
This
moment.
face?
Yeah,
Was it a funny moment, Paul?
when she was talking about our stuff, and Paul's just whole demeanor changed, and
It was a little uncomfortable.
It was
I didn't mind
so
going there. We knew we were going to go
funny.
there, and I was like willing to go there. We talked about it, but when we started going there, I was like, okay, we're going here in front of everybody. So it was good though. It was good.
Paul, I'm so proud of you because I thought you're marking some new ground. I mean, really. I mean, honestly, that takes a lot of vulnerability.
Sure
So
does,
it's
eh?
awesome, you guys.
Well, we appreciate y'all. So let me introduce you guys to the crew out here tonight. For everyone who's joining in for Victory's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then my Instagram, we're talking marriage and family. Greg and Kim Ford have been a part of Victory for a long time. I'll let them share that with you. But we grew up just knowing who they were, watching them raise their kids, and they led a class for years, really on like growing kids God's way, and then ended up in that whole time really mentoring Ashley and I. Kim speaks a lot to Ashley, especially with us raising three boys and a girl.
We got 4.
We got 4 kids, but 3 boys and a girl. You guys have how many kids do y'all have?
About 16.
16, yeah. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves real quick to everyone out there? What you do, missions, ministry, family, all of it.
Okay, great.
Okay, we are Greg and Kim. We've been part of Victory since it started. I came in 1981.
We met there,
Yeah,
Amazing.
and Greg was working for your dad, and I was just graduated from ORU. Both of us graduated from ORU, and we just loved the church. I mean, it was really Victory. I mean, your dad and what was going on, it was just really transformed both of our lives individually, and then and we knew each other. You know, we became friends, and then your dad. It was kind of funny, Paul. I don't know if you know the story, but Sherry Peterson was living. You know, she was your nanny at that time, and she came to me and she goes, "My dad thinks you and Greg are going to get married, and we hadn't started dating yet." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "No, he thinks you're going to get married." And I'm like, "You tell him that I'm going to take that as confirmational, not directional." Because, you know, I mean, that's a little intimidating. And Greg was on staff. And it was such a fun story how the Lord had really just started working in us. And we were friends. And we had actually just started dating. Your dad didn't know it.
Wow.
So it was pretty fun, just the whole story. I mean, there's a whole story behind it, but anyway, it was a really fun time to be at the church, and just God was doing so many things. And Greg was a singles pastor, and I was working as a graphic designer in an ad agency, and so I started doing graphic design for the singles department. So that's how we got to know each other.
Come on.
That's so cool.
Yes, we have a total of 6 kids, and our oldest is 39. Our youngest is 16. And 4 boys, bookend girls,
Wow.
and they've grown up at Victory. So
Come on.
been a
That's
great
amazing. That's amazing. Well, tell us, first question, you being married and then obviously with kids, working, I'm going to ask you this. What were kind of signs that you guys had to pay attention to when different seasons were shifting? And then because different seasons require different needs from each other, and then also just like individually from your kids, what were some signs that you felt like, man, seasons are shifting? Like Paul's sermon this last week was the normal has shifted. I feel like that also happens beyond just quarantine life. I believe that happens like, in just our normal life. Like the normal has shifted. There was a change of an age of kids, or like now they're all out of diapers. We're not there yet, but like, or like marriage changing or whatever that is like, whether with jobs or whatever. And then how do you adjust to those needs in that moment? What kind of conversation does it look like? What are some signs? Is it just like this? Or what are some things that you do when you realize normal is shifting?
I think we had the 4 boys and the bookend girls, and it felt like it never stayed the same for very long. It just seemed like there was, as soon as somebody would like get out of diapers, we'd be pregnant with another baby. Or, it just seemed like that was normal for a very long time. And so it was normal to not feel normal. And I had to get comfortable with that because I'm one of these that just likes to feel normal. I mean, I like it to feel like systems and plans in place. And so I had to get comfortable with a sense of uncomfortability, like out of control. Like I had to become comfortable being out of control. And I know you guys know what that feels like. And I think the more I just relaxed in it and kind of didn't fight it, the easier it was for everybody, and especially me, and probably mostly Greg. Just feeling like this is normal to be out of control. It's normal to have chaos. Now, I like structure. My kids like schedule. I wasn't really good at schedules, but the more I could set up some normalcy, of just routines, the better. It seemed like everybody did better. And we're kind of late night people, and so we didn't get to, the kids and, getting everybody to bed. I mean, it just seemed the better we could get onto a schedule, it just at least attempted for something, right? Attempted for a schedule. It helped us have a plan. And so, and that plan shifted, as the kids get older and as the kids grew. Do you have something to say to that?
Yeah, Ashley, you said something that I think is so important there, and that is, as parents, you need to live in the recognition that your parenting style, your parenting skills you're currently using are going to change on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Because as your kids grow up in age, the way that you parent them it changes because it adapts to them taking on more responsibility and having more privileges, but more responsibility with that. And you have to grow in your parenting as your kids grow in their age. And I think so often when kids are little, we get into a comfortable format because the 2-year-old, the 3-year-old, the 4-year-old, they take our word at a level that they don't recognize they can push back. But as kids get older and they're learning how to deal appropriately with authority and with parents, and you're learning how to deal with them, there's a change. And then every little season of ages, it changes, and so you have to grow with that.
That's good. Hey, our thing's about to cut off, so we'll jump back on live and then
Okay.
hit a request again because we've got like 15 seconds. But I think that's a really good word. Ashley, you want to comment on that before it cuts out? Or?
Well, we got 10 seconds. Let's just restart it so nobody
Okay,
gets
sounds
cuts
good.
in the middle.
All right, we'll
Okay,
click
Join
restart.
us back, people.
Okay.
Boom.
Shakalaka.
We back.
And we back, and we back. Hey, come on back. Welcome home. All right. It says we're telling your followers that you started a live video. There we are.
Come on. So
Yeah,
we're on this
keep
conversation
coming.
with Greg and Kim, talking about marriage, talking about parenting, and talking about how to handle every new season that changes. Okay, there we go. They're jumping on. We'll jump right back into it. Global Q. Here we go. What's up, guys?
There we
Okay,
are.
we are.
Okay, we're back.
We're back.
That's so good. Man, I love that. I think that's it's so good because also like I feel like that would also be hard. It takes a moment to look up and be like, oh wait, they're not the same age anymore. I got to change this up because you finally, like you said, Kim, you get a groove, you're going, and then things change, and then things shift again. And if you're not, and then you're like, you have your head like, I mean, you're focused. And then it's like calling you back up and humbling you once again. Be like, wow, I really don't
It's very
know.
static. It's always changing, and from day to day it changes. It's not like you can show up and expect. I mean, because our kids. I mean, if we're training them, right? Then they're learning, they're growing. We're learning by watching them of what their needs are. And then we have other siblings, and the dynamics are always dynamic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this kid was absolutely fine yesterday, but his brother punched him today, and it's just like, and then you've got an all-out war. So,
Right.
I mean, we didn't have the war yesterday, so it's a new trend. And I really, one thing that I've thought about a lot is how much we really need the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
You know, we think we can handle it. And honestly, I run out of steam, patience, strength so quickly
Yeah.
in myself. I mean, I do. It's just it's like, you didn't do that yesterday. Why did you do this today? You know, it's just like, these are human beings. And as much as, we don't want to think that they have sin natures. I mean, they just are, the root of the human soul is sin. I mean, we want what we want, right? And so that is the thing that is always just at war.
Yeah.
Just training them to walk in self-control and to walk in love, and really to desire that more than they desire what they want themselves,
That's
And
good.
it's just a life pursuit, isn't it? I mean, as adults, we still struggle with those very things.
Yeah.
And so I think just the dynamics, just of your kids, that day, that scenario, sleep, no sleep, hungry, whatever. And I think just the dynamics that you face, it's like, I just realized, like, you know what? I feel like the Lord is just saying, you don't have to handle it. I'll handle it. Just let me be a part of it. Let me be a part of the dialogue. Let me be a part of your wisdom. You just reach out to me, and I like to call it parenting by the Holy Spirit. Just submitting ourselves to Him, and letting Him just because I don't know what to say. Because I know what to say. I have 1,000 words, but they're usually the wrong ones.
Yeah.
Kim, let me ask you a question. You also have overseen the co-op for how long? A homeschool co-op. What all is that, and how long have you done that?
We started homeschool co-op at Victory in 1997. So it's been 23 years, and we've been overseeing homeschoolers. And what's beautiful about it is just families that really want to take, just like in Christian education, said, I want Christian education for my families. And so we, currently right now, there's about 1,500 students that are in our program, just Northeast.
Wow. That's amazing.
And I love it because it gives us a chance to just have a thumbprint, and support parents and love them. And, just give them a vision for just loving their kids and loving God, and just how He's got so much more for us than we even realize. So it's been a really neat
So
thing.
with this quarantine, it's got all these new homeschool parents that
Yeah.
are like, what are we supposed to do? Because we had our kids in school. For us, we had our kids at Victory Christian School.
What
But
are we supposed to do? I'm pretty sure it's affected me a little bit more. I mean,
I have been doing quite a bit myself too.
I'm sure you have.
What I'm saying is, give some encouragement
Whoops.
and advice to those out there that are either homeschooling their 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old right now, and ways to make it fun. And I don't know if you got any tips for them. At these, you know, it's not easy just switching that hat now to being, oh wow, I'm doing this.
I'm really cracking up right now. Paul's trying to like put himself in other people's shoes because he's not in those shoes. He's not in those shoes.
Shush! I am
I
so
am.
in those
Oh, you're
shoes.
doing a good job.
I am the homeschool parent right now.
You know, I think it's a great question, because it's so interesting to me that we're all in this boat together right now, and it feels a little different because you didn't pick the curriculum, you don't know the curriculum, you know, you don't know where your kid's at. They show up, and you've got this book, and you're trying to decipher. And so, for me, my advice has been just enjoy your days, and you're not going to mess up your kids in these last 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be really hard to mess them up. You might get messed up, but you're not going to mess them up. No,
I keep telling myself, I'm like, you know what? I feel like every teacher knows exactly what they're going to inherit. So, you know, and I'm so thankful that it happened it's going to happen. It needs to happen in the spring and not in November when I actually have to really, really do some intense building blocks.
Yeah, for the younger kids, I would keep it very succinct, very short. Don't feel like you have to get everything done on the curriculum.
That's
that would
good.
be my goal. I would say just do it early when they're fresh, and then come up with some activities in the afternoon when they're more tired. We always had a quiet time with our kids, and that was they took books, something quiet that they did on their bed for an hour or so, depending on their age level, while the babies are napping, and just come. I think there is a real important thing about a structure in a day like that. You know, having a plan, just so you know what your day's like, they know what the day's like, and you kind of move from one thing to another, and then teach them, let them play.
Yeah.
I've been taking them on a lot of adventures on quarantine.
Paul, I've seen that, and I think it's fantastic. I think let them play, let them explore, let them go dig in the dirt. You know, let them be kids, because there is so much learning that happens when they get their hands in the dirt, when they get to build things out of blocks and out of boards, and it's just so. I don't think we get enough of that outdoor time. And I heard a teaching a little bit ago that was it's called it's actually a title of a book, and it was Nature Deficit Disorder.
That's good.
Wow.
That we have, we used, like Paul, when you were growing up, and when we were growing up, and Ashley, it's like we just would run the neighborhood. We'd get on our bikes. My parents would see us for hours, and they weren't worried when we didn't show up for dinner. You know, I mean, they just knew we were going to be fine. And today's different.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's good.
we just, you know, they need to climb trees. They need to, you know, just ride the bikes and feel the, you know, I saw little Benny learn how to ride his bike. You know, that is awesome. But you know, create memories, and family time like that is so important. And so that would be my thing. Is just you're not gonna mess up. God has actually anointed you to be parents of your kids right now.
Amen.
You know, that's such a powerful thought. Let me just add this, that whether you're homeschooling your kids from K through 12, or you're doing it temporarily because of the quarantine, I think one of the most powerful thoughts to keep in mind is that God has anointed you to train and equip your kids.
Yeah.
And so often as parents, we feel insecure, unprepared. Nobody told me how to do this. You know, I don't have the special training teachers have. But the reality is God has equipped us to raise up our kids so that they hear his voice and they know him. And that does not only apply to spiritual matters, but it also applies to practical things about life and the world that God's created and how we're to interact with it. And so, what Kim was mentioning earlier about as you're homeschooling, you really have to do it with the Holy Spirit. We have to release our faith. Yeah. I'm not saying just Kim and I, but all of us.
Yeah.
We have to release our faith that we're going to raise our kids, homeschool our kids to know Him and know the world that He's placed them in. And it's by faith that we tap into that. Yeah. I'm not trying to super spiritualize it, but we don't check our faith. We don't just use our faith for church things, but it's for things like this. Yeah. When you're stuck at home with your kids, God wants to give us a grace to help us with training and educating and raising up our kids.
Can I tell you the story real quick? I think it's really powerful. I remember Hudson was 12. He just transitioned from kids' church to big church, and he was sitting next to us. And 12 is so awkward. It's just like they're not a kid anymore, and they're not quite a teenager, but they're just awkward. And we were sitting in church. We were standing in church. It was during worship. And I remember looking at him, and I thought, it's so neat to have him here with us. And I looked at him again. I thought, we're singing, and he's not singing. And I thought, okay. So I went back to worship. And then the more I thought about it, the more frustrated I got. It's like, it's like, he's not even singing. So I looked at him again. I thought, sure enough, he's not singing. And you know how you just kind of like think something, here you are in worship, and my mind is frustrated with my 12-year-old. And all these thoughts are going through my head. It's like, he's been in kids' church. He doesn't even know who God is. And he's heathen. And what am I going to do? And I just wanted to lay into him right then. And so I leaned over to Hudson and I said, Hudson, it's worship. He goes, yeah, I know. And I said, well, that means we sing. And he goes, I'm singing. And I looked at him and he hadn't moved his mouth. And I wanted so much to give a lecture, and I felt like the Holy Spirit just stopped me right then. And he said, he's mine.
Wow, so
your
good.
job now is to intercede for him.
Wow.
So just pray for him. And I felt there was a battle in his soul. Like he didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. He wanted to be maybe do something, wanted to be worshiping, but he couldn't. I just felt this battle was raging in his soul. And I just started interceding for him. And literally 3 months later, he went to a camp, and he was with a pastor, and the pastor called me up. He said, Kim, I do not know what's going on, but be praying for Hudson. And so I said, what's happening? I was like, what's going on? He said, every time the worship starts, he's laying on the floor, he's weeping.
Wow.
And he said, seriously, hours at a time. And he comes home from that camp, and he came home, and I didn't want him to know that I knew he'd been crying over worship. But he came home, and he started singing. He started singing all the time. I mean, like walking around the house singing. And I thought, he had never sung before out loud to us. He had just been bottled up and N-word. And I realized within a couple of weeks, all the other kids started singing. It was like this oldest one had this cap he was holding on everybody else, and nobody knew it. But once he was free, everybody else was free. But I just want to say, and then Paul, he was a worship leader. And so it was like God was stirring him.
Wow.
It would have been so easy for me to lock him down. Just that was my, not intentionally, but just with my lecture or with my forcing him to do something. And so I just say, it's just the Holy Spirit.
It's
it was so simple and such a gentle voice from the Lord, but I thought it was just wisdom that unlocked something that was part of a call on his life. So I just say that. I just feel like the Holy Spirit just wants to talk more to us, wants to partner with us.
Man, I think that's such a good word. And I would love for you guys to just say, maybe just a quick encouragement to the parents, in the sense, like, you guys were touching on it, of just encouraging parents. Like, it is so easy to just, feel like you're doing a bad job, feel like you're a failure, because you are in uncharted waters a lot, and you're still trying to become the best version of yourself. And when you have a bad day, it can like spill onto the kids, and and as much as you want to be, great there for the kids, sometimes you miss it. And then, but just, I do feel like, just shame and condemnation and guilt when we do miss it as a parent. Like, why do you feel like the devil just wants to beat all the parents up so much, and make us just feel like, just suck the courage out of us, like, why is that so important to the devil? In other words, it's a way to say it in the sense of just the power of parenting. Like, he knows the power of it. And so if you guys could maybe just speak to the power of parenting and just call out the devil's lies, so that way he can be exposed and people can be encouraged.
Yeah, what occurs to me is any theologian could tell you this, but the two institutions that God established biblically were the family and the church. Yeah. And it's those two institutions that God wants to use to touch a hurting world that needs redemption, needs salvation. Mm-hmm. And so you guys as pastors are doing such a great job, Paul and Ashley as our pastors, with the church in that and touching so many hurting people. But that same anointing is on us and our families and upon every parent that's watching, whether you're a single parent, whether you're having to do part of this by yourself or you're a step parent. There's an anointing on you as a parent to impart the life of God into your kids, and He will equip you. He will empower you. He'll tell you how to do it. He's not expecting you to do perfect, but I will say this: God never intended for us to do anything apart from His Holy Spirit. And so we have to rely on the Holy Spirit to help us. And I don't mean that in some kind of super spiritual sense, but just in the daily routine of parenting, the daily routine of child training. And it is training. It's not a one-time, it's not a one-time lesson, that they have to learn. But just in those consistency areas, God is, yes, He's training us, but we're anointed, we're equipped to do it. And really, if we will do it in faith, we're not going to screw up our kids. We're not going to mess them up. We have a lot to learn. So as a parent, if you need help, Kim and I, we've been married for many years, but we went through the Growing Kids class early on 3 times. And then we've been involved with it many other times since then. Mm-hmm. And every time we go through it, we find, even with parents of older kids, there's so much helpful information that we glean out of it. Wow. And so there's resources that Victory as a church is providing through the parenting classes that can really help us in the struggles that we're having now with families, give us wisdom how to do that in a biblical way.
Hey, Greg, let me ask you something. Are you guys going to teach that class like via online Zoom or anything like that?
That's a great question. We just finished the class right before spring break. But what were you?
Yeah, I was going to say the general class that provides the basic foundational material. We're planning on restarting this fall.
Okay.
Sure. And hopefully we won't have to do that by Zoom.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be live. But I do think even when you restart it in the fall, I think it'd be awesome if somebody set up their laptop and just aired it live on Facebook, because I think a lot of online, there's a lot of people who don't live in Tulsa that have been tuning in, and I think would really be blessed by that.
Because you suggested that, we will do that. We can actually very easily do that.
That'd be awesome.
And people through Zoom to be part of the class. Thanks for that idea.
Well,
we will definitely do that.
And just another resource is Growing Families International is offering their toddler class right now for free. I mean, they're offering quite a bit online right now. I just happened to notice it today. But a toddler class, a middle years class for middle school kids, like that transition years. And there's it's a great resource. It really is. They have all of their content online, and you can just go in and just download anything you need right now. It's awesome. Paul and Ashley, I think the thing that it really is in my heart is there is a battle over families. I mean, you don't have to look very far to realize it's just there's an onslaught just between just our kids being separated from godly ideas. So, this is the first generation of teenagers that they're calling postmodern. Basically, that means that this group of teenagers in the United States has forgotten or left Christianity. Wow. 33%. They've never called a generation that before. And so there's a battle, over our seed, over our children. And really, it's because of what they carry inside of them. The life of God. And I love the scripture in Proverbs that talks about that how blessed is a man whose quiver is full. It's like his arrows in the hand of a warrior. And honestly, I'd like to liken Christian parents as that warrior that, they said that the arrow, it took years to fashion. It took months to fashion an arrow. I mean, the arrowhead, they had to find the right rock and carve out the arrowhead and then find the shaft and then practice launching the arrow at targets. And it's like our children, it's funny to me that God likened them and compared them to the most aggressive and accurate weapon of the day. It's an arrow. And that's what he called our children. And he said, how blessed are we? And I think the parents overall, I think it's easy to feel tired. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but we just have to remember the blessing our kids are. And that they are what we launch into the future. They're not.
That's good.
I heard that legacy isn't what we leave behind, it's who we leave behind.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful to me when we realize that this work I'm doing today is for eternal work. It's eternal work.
That's good.
It's not. It's hard. I'm wiping bottoms and I'm noses and I'm meals and laundry and all of that. But when we see it from God's perspective, this is a soul.
Yeah, it's so good.
That we get that the Lord has entrusted to us to really captivate them with the love of God. Show them this is what being a Christian is. And it's not perfect, but to show them the beauty of the Christian life and to make that our home. And honestly, I heard Manning say just, about how you're our guinea pig, with our old adult child. And I thought, Greg and I spent a lot of time apologizing to our kids and just saying, hey, we really messed up here and forgive me. And it's just been a practice. And I think that part of it is it's important for me for our kids to see that, hey, we need God just as much as we want you to have God. We need God that much too. We can't do it without him. And so it's just
that's really good, Kim.
Yeah. I think that's so
Great
good.
thoughts.
I think it's so good. And I want to thank you guys for continuing to just equip yourself. I think you're an incredible resource to all ages and all seasons. I mean, your whole story has blessed so many, and we're just so thankful. I know, a lot of us, we can feel like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. But at the same time, I definitely believe that when I come up for air and I decide to get more of a vision and equip myself as a parent, I feel so empowered. And it takes a lot for me to come up, get my head out of whatever it is, just trying to survive, and equip myself. And a lot of times when I feel empowered, I get a fresh dose of joy because my why has been renewed. My why has been sharpened.
Absolutely.
And then I don't feel as just so spontaneous with my responses or just on a whim, and again, I'm putting the vision in front of me, and as a mom and as a parent, I just feel like the greatest gift that I can give my kids is equipping myself, honestly, with words and vocabulary, just equipping again with the Word of God, prayer, time to myself, whatever that is. So I just want to thank you guys so much for just continually equipping yourself, and resourcing yourself, so that way, we can be helped. I'm so thankful. So we're so grateful for you guys.
Well, we love you
Thank you.
guys. We're so grateful it's interesting, Paul, I was going to say this, being at a church for your life, I mean, Greg and I got married at Victory. We met at Victory, and then our kids have gotten married at Victory. You know, it's just been neat to see the benefits of covenant. You know, being in a right relationship with the body, and we're just so grateful. I mean, what an honor to get to see Billy Joe's son lead our church. I mean, it's a really, we feel like a very special place for us.
Wow.
And we're just proud of you guys, and just so grateful that we get to be a part.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Greg.
Thank
Love
you
you
so
guys.
much.
Thanks for jumping on tonight.
Greg, your halo never went away. You're still extra
Yeah.
holy. The halo is still there.
Yeah, that halo. I love it.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
We love you guys. Thank you so much
you
for
guys.
joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, guys, that was, oh, wow, we flipped it around.
Oh, hey,
That's
Zach.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us. This was the final night of this. I'm sure we'll do some more stuff in the future.
In the future, because
not-
we're
yeah,
tired.
not
Don't make any
tomorrow.
promises right now, babe.
No, I'm going to sleep, and I'm praying that both of us get good rest, and that
Yes,
you guys as
we're
well.
so glad you guys joined. We are going to put it up different places, right? It's
We're
going
gonna
to be
upload
out
it on
there.
YouTube sometime soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'd love to know how it impacted you or what you got from it. Feel free to DM us. We'll try to respond to that. Thank you, Chrissy, T-Wait. You got T-Waits, Miss
Yes.
Nanny G, Eric Tum, Natalie Kresge,
All
Kevin
you
Peel.
guys, love y'all.
Yes, love you guys. Thank you, Josh. It was so good tuning in and tuning in with you guys. I learned so much as I was sitting here. I was like, I did too. I mean, it was so good. I mean, it was so good. I'm yawning so much. Hey, you guys are so welcome. Thanks, Mona Alicia. We love you guys.
Good
All right.
night.
Night-night. I will go
Later.
eat. I am
Love
hungry.
y'all.